Hello everyone. Sambar has a special place in Indian cooking. I believe it's an evolved and sophisticated dish, very sophisticated dish in my opinion. Um, my grandmom, Savitri Kovilamma, and my mom, Vasanti Kovilamma, and my wife, Soumeshri Kumar, all of them make wonderful food. And I remember going during my childhood, I learned how to make sambar from my mom. The flavor was amazing. Um, and my wife also makes wonderful sambar. So and I'm a Malayali, so my bar of sambar is actually quite high, at least for me, what I like. And I generally tend to find that the sambar in most restaurants don't doesn't live up to that. So it makes me be very picky about which place I go to for sambar. And chutney is another thing. Chutney is also something that my friends know how crazy I am about chutney being right. So in this video, I'm going to make sambar the way I understand it. It doesn't come close to the flavor of how my mom used to make, and my wife makes. But what I essentially do is I use sambar powder as a base, and I fortify it and I make it taste better for it to suit my taste. So yeah, this video is about that and dedicated to all those people who make wonderful food. Yesterday I had been to an South Indian food truck, and the video is posted already, and wonderful food and everything, and I had a comment on how the sambar works. It was not exactly to how I like it, and I told them that, and they promised me the next time we come, the sambar will be better and will be good. So it made me think overnight. I was just thinking, how good a judge am I about sambar? And so I thought I'll make a video of what I like in a sambar and why I'm particular about it, of how it should be. I've grown up with my mom making sambar, and she makes wonderful sambar, and my wife also makes good sambar, so I am stickler to details and I like it in a certain way. So in this video I'm going to go over how I make sambar, what I look for in a sambar. And so yeah, I've just laid out some of the initial ingredients. I'll just go over that now and then we can get into making it. So today I'm going to make sambar with hash gourd of kumblanya, and I've cut them into small pieces like this. Made sure that every piece has the skin side up here. Not just the flesh part, also the skin side, which is peeled, of course. It's slightly green, as you can tell, right? This keeps the whole thing in shape intact. If this is not there, if it's only the flesh part that is cut, it'll become mushy and go away. So in the end, we do want these things intact in shape, but as they cook, they'll become translucent, and that's how we want that. I have tomatoes. The reason why I've soaked them is these are frozen ones, and these are from our garden from last year. We had a bounty of tomato harvest. Yes, fella, who is that? Quiet. We had a bounty of tomato harvest, and so we froze them to use it over the year, and it's working quite well. We are using it. So I've taken some of them and I've put it in water so that they're easy to cut. I'll be using 3 out of the 4 while cooking the sambar, but 1 I'll use to make the paste when I'm making the paste. I prefer it that way. It adds the tanginess that we need. But tanginess is not only because of the tomatoes, but this is super important for me. The tamarind, that is, I don't know how it's processed, but this is fresh tamarind that is right now soaked in water so that it's easy to take the juice off. And that adds the right kind of tanginess to the sambar, which is essential. It's important. So a sambar, in my opinion, should first be fragrant, should smell good, it should not be too watery, should have the right consistency. And in my opinion, a sambar is made with one vegetable. I don't like a medley of vegetables in sambar. So that is why you saw only the ash gourd. So when I say an ash gourd sambar, I prefer ash gourd in the sambar, not mixed with 10 other vegetables. Ash gourd sambar is actually third in my preference order. I prefer sambar with shallots, small onions. That's my favorite. Second is drumstick, and third is ash gourd or ladyfinger. So the okra based sambar. So those are equally good. And I have some coconut oil which I'll be using, and I have grated coconut which I will be frying with the spices, and I am going to go over those spices now. And I have 2 batches of curry leaves, and 1 batch is for tadka that you all know. The other batch, I'm very particular that I use this while making the paste, because I want that flavor ingrained and that fragrance available in the masala itself. So the first step is to fry, not fry, but you can call it dry fry, the coconut along with along with the other spices. And I'm not a chef that knows how to make sambar powder from scratch, so I start with sambar powder. And the idea is to use the sambar powder that mom says is good or wife says is good, and that is the base. But the sambar powder alone is not good enough for me. It's never enough. So it needs the tamarind water, red chili flakes, chili itself, not flakes and not powder, but the chili, coriander seeds, not coriander powder, coriander seeds. For cumin, I use cumin powder. I could use cumin seeds, but yeah, here I have cumin powder. And the asafoetida powder. This is super important, and I add loads of this. This adds a completely different flavor. And I also have turmeric, which I add. The turmeric is not enough in the sambar, in my opinion. I add a little bit more. You can see that while making the fry. So the first step is to just fry this and then make the paste. And then the dal is getting ready on the side, and then it's just a matter of cooking the one vegetable. The way I do it is I half cook it, and then I add a little bit of salt, and then I put all the sambar powder and all of the masala in it, and let the vegetable cook, the rest of the half of the vegetable to cook with the masala, so that it soaks in into the vegetable. Yep, those are the steps. So I'll start the frying process. Okay, so let's start. I'll start with some oil. I know it's a lot of oil right now, but that's because the moment we put the masalas, sambar powder and the masalas, it soaks everything up. So I'm starting with a little bit more of it. I prefer to start with the asafoetida powder. So right away this has a, I understand some people might not like the fragrance, but I like it. So, and I got that from my mom, I guess. So we use a lot, and I like to use a lot of coriander seeds. I'm not using a lot of, I'm actually not making a lot of sambar. I'm actually making very little sambar. But I like these masala, these seeds and the masala to be good and uh, wholesome, not just somewhere they are lost in translation. This is the flavor of sambar. This is the fragrance of sambar. So it has to be. Sambar, in my opinion, is one of the most complex things that one of the most complex dishes that we have been able to make. It's not only it has to be spicy, tangy, and fragrant at the same time. If you do it at high heat, it starts bursting. So yeah, do it at medium, low heat. Once we add the masalas in medium heat, it will be alright. So watch. Oh my God, this is a mess. Okay, it's important that the curry leaves and the chili are before we add the coconut. I do want the other spices to be sauteed in this. So I'll start with sambar powder. I think this much should be good. Hold it. Powder. A little bit of turmeric, that should be enough. And you can see there's not enough oil for masalas. A little bit more of oil. There's actually a whole lot of coconut also going in, so there's no need of too much of oil, but I don't want it to be deep fried. The thing is, this whole I'm not doing anything big or major here. That's not been done. Please let me know in the comments if you think this is trivial. But essentially, what I wanted to make the video about is how I like my sambar and how I like to fortify the sambar powder with some masalas, so that at least for me, it tastes good. They are nowhere as good as how good sambar my mom makes or my wife makes, but I don't see this kind of sambar in restaurants. They're usually made with multiple vegetables, and there are very few places where sambar is to my liking. So I thought I'd make this video. I'm just toasting this low to medium heat so that until they become dark, quite dark, right? So when they become quite dark, what happens is that just changes the flavor of these masalas. If you toast it in high heat, it will just burn. That's not what we want. We can also I also need to toast it with the coconut for some time, so I'll not wait for it to become very dark now, because I do want the coconut to be toasted, and coconut has its own oils, so that'll be okay. But I do want to toast the coconut and these masalas to be mixed with coconut very well. I would prefer if I had fresh coconut that is cut into pieces. I still remember when my mom used to make sambar, she used to toast the coconut like this with the spices, and I used to love eating the coconut, chunks of coconut from the spices, from this paste. Before she grinds this to a paste, I would make sure that I get one or two chunks of coconut, because all the masala is covered around it and is toasted and nice, but the inside of the coconut chunk is still not masala, so it's quite nice. So essentially this is what it is, but it's important to have sufficient good amount of coconut that gives it the flavor, and the masalas. When we make a paste, all this will anyway get mixed up, but the idea essentially is to make the coconut to be toasted, so that a toasted coconut has a different flavor than raw coconut. Coriander around. I love this fragrance. A toasted coconut with all these spices. This is the condensed fragrance of sambar, and if this doesn't taste like that or smell like that, then something is off. You can even taste it right away and decide if you want to change something. This is super condensed, so when the sambar is made, especially when the dal is added, everything just mellows down and the dal acts as a base. And yeah, this also does not have salt yet, so it will taste different, but you can judge and decide if you want more sambar powder or less sambar powder in this one. Okay, so this is almost ready. I'll be adding tomato to this, one tomato to this, and grinding it to make it a paste, and show it to you when the paste is ready, and then we can start cooking the vegetable and just adding the stuff, including dal, and sambar is ready after that. That's it. Okay, so this is the paste of the coconut, the toasted coconut, with one tomato added. Yeah, one of the things to take care is to not make it watery. I'll explain why when we are making the sambar. But it needs to be ground fine, yet as you can see, to this consistency, right? You can see the coarseness in it, and that's the hallmark of um, Varataricha sambar, where you should, in my opinion, you should see these grains. If you either grind it too fine or not add enough coconut, then this just doesn't happen. And when you add more water to it in the sambar, this you can see it a little grainy. I prefer it that way. So this is the consistency in which I make the kuto. So we start the boiling process with tomatoes and the main vegetable in the pot. In this particular case, I want to make sure that I mention that ash gourd already has a lot of water, so I don't want to add too much water. Right? Typically, say if you're making a drumstick curry or something else, I would submerge the drumstick in the water. But in this case, I've added water only to maybe the 1/4 level of ash gourds, because there's a lot of water in the ash gourd content. All this is going to add up, and we are going to add dal and tamarind water. So all that is going to add up in water. There are 3 tomatoes in it. All that will add up water. So even if I keep the water at this level, you will see by the time it's done, it'll be almost full. So yeah, the other important thing that I keep in mind, and I want to make sure that I mention, is I prefer to make the sambar with lid closed. I want all the flavors to remain in. I don't want to keep it open and everything to be boiling out. So I keep the lid closed most of the time, as much as possible, as long as I can keep it that way. So yeah, so I've kept the water to boil, and as it boils, the ash gourd will start becoming translucent. And as it starts becoming translucent, I'll add a little bit of salt, so that the salt can go into the ash gourd, and that makes it flavorful as it cooks. And add the right amount of salt at the end after everything is added, right? Because once you add salt, it becomes difficult for the vegetable to cook. In case of ash gourd, it's easy, but if you're making something like drumstick or okra, you have to be a little careful. Shallots also is easy. As they start becoming translucent, you can add salt. The other thing that I want to mention is I want to make sure that the water and the vegetable is cooked first and separately, because I want the flavor of the vegetable front and center in the sambar. So if it's an ash gourd sambar, it should have the taste of ash gourd. If it's a drumstick sambar, it should have the taste of drumstick first, then tanginess, heat, and all of that combined, right? So you cannot mistake a drumstick sambar with, oh, everything is mixed and it's confused. I hate that. I don't like it. So I want the ash gourd to cook separately well in the water to take the flavor of the ash gourd, and keep it close so that all that fragrance and the aroma of ash gourd is preserved in the water as it cooks. So yeah, as you can see, the water has started to boil, and you can see how the ash gourd is just shrinking in size, and the water is starting to come up all the way. So even this much water might have been too much. The red color right now is because of the tomatoes. So as it boils, just keep stirring the sambar, keep stirring the vegetables as it boils. Make sure the ones that are on the bottom come on top so that they get cooked. And as you can see, they're getting submerged in the water, which is good. Keep the lid closed. Okay, in about 10 minutes or so, you'll start seeing that it is starting to become translucent. I'm not sure if you can see it from there, but you can tell the difference. And this is where I add a pinch of salt, not more, this much. But yeah, I just add that much salt so that the whole broth and the vegetable itself is flavorful. I don't want the vegetables, I hate when the vegetables themselves are not flavorful. So that will make the vegetable flavorful, and then when we add everything in, I let it cook a little bit more, and then when we add everything, all those spices also get into the vegetable, and it's much better that way in my opinion. So yeah, I've let it cook for a few more minutes. It's starting to become translucent, but it is not fully translucent yet. It's not fully cooked yet. Okay? There is still more cooking to happen, but this is the time where I would like to add the tamarind water. So as you can see, it's clear. Everything, all the fiber part has been squished out. So I add the tamarind water and I add the paste. This is a lot of it. I don't think we need so much, but well, I like to add more coconut, so that's why there is so much of volume in it. And once we add all of this, I like to add dal in the bitter end. I don't want to add it now, so I add all these things, and now now as the gravy cooks, the ash guard will also soak in all these spices. So as you can see, it has become a bit dense, but there is still more water from the ash guard to come. So I'm not going to add any more water, and I'll let it cook, and I'll keep stirring it once in a while. Cook it at medium heat. Okay, so this has been boiling for just a few minutes. I'll make sure that I keep stirring it so that everything, all the ash guard comes up on top. And as you can see, the ash guard has also soaked it. The test is to just crush it like this and see if there is any white color in the middle. If there is, then it's not cooked, but yeah, it looks like everything is cooked. And yeah, it's not very difficult to cut. So there is still more boiling to happen, so it will remain and cook more. But the reason it's difficult to cut in the end is because we have kept that portion of skin part, right? And that holds the shape of this. Right now, the taste of it would be very sharp, and that's when we add dal, it balances everything and makes it flavorful. One thing to keep in mind while adding dal is once the dal is cooked, it's important to mash it. I don't mash it too much, but I make sure that it's mashed, because as it goes in and it gets cooked, it will become invisible, and that's how I like it. I hate sambars where I can see dal pieces, that dal that is not crushed. I don't like it. I just don't. I have seen that in some restaurants where the dal is not crushed or cooked enough. It should just dissolve. So as you can see, the sambar, the consistency of sambar, there is some graininess of the masala, and that is coming from the coconut fibers. But everything else, including dal, is mashed and mixed. The only other pieces other than the vegetable pieces that I can tolerate and I would like are tomato pieces. In this case, the tomato pieces are mixed and blended well, because they were frozen tomatoes and they don't hold shape once they are not frozen. So it's mixed, but that's okay. I prefer it. I don't mind if they are chopped and as pieces. Okay, so while the sambar is cooking, I moved it to a different place so that it cooks, and I'm getting ready to make the tadka, the final tadka, because I think it's almost done. It's just cooking, simmering, and finishing off, and I'll make tadka by then and we'll be done. So my tadka is very simple. Don't like it complex. Just heat the oil and nothing but just the curry leaves and mustard seeds. That's it. So I'll let this cook, and when it's done, when the oil is hot, I'll just add. Oh, it's hot. It can be hotter. Yeah, when the oil is hot, I'll just add. It is not hot enough. I like a lot of mustard seeds, so I add more mustards and wait. I should have waited a little bit more before adding the mustard seeds, but that's okay. The sambar, make sure to keep it churning, because the dal, once you add dal and the paste, tends to settle at the bottom, which is not what we want. So, but yeah, as you can see, the lid closed, and yeah, take care of it. Yep, mustard seeds not done, but the reason I like to put it is put the curry leaves slightly before the mustard finishes sputtering, is so that the curry leaves can fry a little bit by the time mustard seeds have finished sputtering. Because if you keep the mustard seeds too long, then they burn and they taste different. And the curry leaves, if they are not fried enough, they don't taste very good. I want them to fry well. So yeah, I think they're already starting to burn. No, just enough. That's okay. And right, that is the sambar. And I made a mess while doing it. You don't have to do it like that. Okay.